Have you ever wondered how a single spark in the vast darkness of space became the sun that warms our world? Tonight, we're going to follow that spark, tracing its quiet journey from a cold, drifting cloud of gas and dust to the brilliant star that cradles our solar system. Somewhere, hidden in the cosmic shadows, the story of light and life has been waiting billions of years to be told. As you settle in, take a deep breath and let your body soften. Imagine yourself floating among distant stars, weightless and free, drifting toward the birthplace of our sun. If you're watching from somewhere cozy, perhaps your bedroom, or under the open sky, pause for a moment and comment below to tell me where you are. And if the universe calls to your curiosity, subscribe to The Thoughtful Night so we can explore it together, one gentle story at a time. Tonight, we'll move slowly, letting gravity, light, and time guide us. We'll see how a quiet, invisible cloud began to dance, how warmth grew in the darkness, and how the sun slowly opened its eyes to the cosmos. Let your mind soften, your thoughts drift, and your imagination awaken as we begin the story of how the sun was born. Far beyond the familiar glow of stars, in a quiet corner of the Milky Way, there drifts a cloud. Not a cloud like the ones we see in our skies, but one woven from gas and dust, cold and dark, stretching across light years of emptiness. You can imagine it as a shadow lingering in space, a hidden cradle of matter, waiting patiently in the infinite night. Its edges blur into the darkness, blending with the void, almost imperceptible to anyone who might be passing by, yet full of potential, silently holding the secrets of creation. This is a molecular cloud, the birthplace of stars, a congregation of atoms and molecules, floating gently like dancers in a cosmic waltz. Each particle drifts on its own path, tiny and fragile, yet part of a vast, coordinated rhythm that has been unfolding for millions of years. Hydrogen, helium, traces of heavier elements, all wandering slowly, occasionally brushing past one another, nudged by tiny forces that seem almost like whispers. Within this stillness, time itself feels different, slower, more deliberate, as if the universe has pressed pause and allowed creation to breathe. These clouds are enormous. One could stretch across hundreds of trillions of miles, encompassing more mass than our sun in ways difficult to truly grasp. And yet, within this grandness, every speck of dust and gas is significant. Tiny grains of silicate, carbon, and ice drift together, like an unseen orchestra tuning itself in the dark. They are silent, invisible to the untrained eye, but they carry the blueprint for everything that will one day ignite into light. Imagine billions of particles moving in slow, unseen patterns, orbiting each other like invisible dancers whose steps are measured in eons. As you drift alongside this cloud, you begin to notice the stillness, a calm so profound it almost feels alive. The atoms themselves seem aware of one another, tracing delicate arcs across the void, nudged by forces imperceptible to us. This dance is slow. Millions of years pass in silence, and yet every moment matters. It is in this patient waiting that the seeds of light and warmth are sown, hidden in the heart of a cloud that seems empty, but is brimming with possibility. Within these clouds, temperatures hover near absolute zero. It is a realm so cold that atoms move with the faintest stirrings, a gentle shiver through the darkness. And yet, this very coldness is essential. It allows gravity, the quiet sculptor of the cosmos, to begin its slow work. In this frozen stillness, tiny pockets of denser gas form. Perhaps they start no larger than a pebble in a riverbed of space, barely noticeable against the enormity around them. Yet these pockets will grow, gathering more and more of the drifting material, like whispers in the night calling to one another across the void. You can picture the cloud as a vast ocean of darkness, each particle a droplet floating on an invisible current. Some drift aimlessly, some gravitate toward one another, creating intricate patterns of motion. They are never static. They move, collide, and settle, tracing a slow choreography that only the universe can see. Over time, these patterns grow more complex, denser knots of matter forming the seeds of stars yet unborn. And all the while, the cloud remains a sanctuary, a quiet place where nothing rushes, nothing demands attention, and yet everything is preparing for a moment billions of years in the making. Within the shadowed folds of the cloud, tiny cosmic collisions create faint sparks, almost imperceptible. Dust grains brush together, molecules combine, and slowly, almost without notice, energy begins to accumulate. The cloud itself seems to breathe, inhaling particles, exhaling nothing, holding space for possibility. You might feel as if you are peering at a living entity, though it has no consciousness as we understand it. Still, there is a rhythm, a pulse, subtle and measured, like the faint echo of a heartbeat in the stillest night. As the cloud drifts, gravity starts to whisper its gentle command. It is quiet, persistent, irresistible. Each particle feels it, an invisible tug that grows stronger as more matter gathers in a single place. It is not sudden, not violent, but a patient insistence that draws the atoms together, urging them into closer proximity, and in doing so, shaping the future. Imagine this gentle pull as a cosmic hand, unseen yet felt by every drifting molecule, guiding them toward a destiny hidden deep within the folds of space. The cloud begins to bend under its own weight. Regions of higher density form, folding inwards, tightening as if the universe itself were gathering its breath. The cold gas and dust begin a slow contraction, a subtle folding and spinning, so gradual that it could be measured in millions of years. Yet in this quiet compression lies the promise of fire, the potential for a star to be born. Every particle counts, every gentle nudge matters. The universe is patient, and it allows this grand construction to unfold at its own pace. As time stretches on, the cloud's density increases. The particles, once scattered and indifferent, are now engaged in a slow, intimate dance. Collisions become more frequent, yet still gentle. Each tiny interaction shapes the evolving cloud, like notes in a silent symphony composed over eons. You can sense that something remarkable is approaching, a transformation hidden within the stillness. In the darkness, energy begins to stir, and the seeds of light are quietly gathering strength. At the edges of this cloud, shadows of interstellar space stretch beyond sight. Cosmic rays and starlight from distant stars occasionally filter through, illuminating tiny swaths of dust and gas, revealing hints of the hidden complexity within. The cloud is no longer merely empty darkness. It is a tapestry of potential, a cradle of creation that holds within it the building blocks of everything to come. The vastness itself is part of the story, a reminder that even in emptiness, life waits patiently to emerge. And so, the dark cloud drifts, cold and silent, a vast reservoir of possibilities in the Milky Way. It waits for the slow whisper of gravity to begin its work in earnest. Within it, every atom is a story, every molecule a possibility, every fold of dust a silent promise. In this quiet, frozen realm, time passes differently. Millions of years are but gentle breaths, measured in cosmic patience. Somewhere, deep in the densest knots of the cloud, the first stirrings of a star are about to awaken. Gravity's whisper grows stronger, pulling particles ever closer, shaping the cloud in ways unseen, and soon, the dance of atoms will become more intimate, more urgent. The dark cloud is readying itself for a transformation that will light up the cosmos. It is the quiet beginning of a story billions of years in the making, a tale of warmth emerging from cold, light from shadow, and life from the vast emptiness of space. And here, at this moment, we pause, floating with the drifting atoms, suspended in time and wonder, ready to follow gravity's gentle pull into the heart of creation. Even in the quiet vastness, an invisible hand begins to tug. Gravity stirs softly, almost imperceptibly, across the dark molecular cloud. Like a gentle conductor, it invites atoms to converge, guiding them into a slow, inevitable dance. This invisible force knows no hurry, no impatience. It simply whispers, drawing particles closer over eons. At first, the cloud resists, particles drifting almost randomly, gliding past one another like dancers unaware of the music. Yet with each passing million years, gravity's call grows clearer. Tiny clumps form, a subtle gathering of gas and dust. They swirl together, orbiting their small centers of mass, responding to the pull that promises eventual cohesion. As regions condense, the cloud begins to breathe differently. Some areas are denser than others, creating gentle currents of matter moving inward. The motions are slow, almost meditative. Yet in this stillness, the future star is quietly shaping itself. Time stretches. 1,000,000 years pass like a single breath, and the cloud grows ever more intimate, each particle aware of its neighbors in a cosmic ballet. In these growing clumps, angular momentum asserts itself with soft insistence. Spinning begins naturally. A particle moving toward the center must rotate faster, just as a skater pulls in her arms to twirl more swiftly. This subtle law, conserved through space and time, sets the foundation for a disk that will one day cradle planets. The cloud bends to the rhythm of physics, each atom's motion guided by an unseen, inevitable logic. The cloud's motion is not violent, but deliberate. As particles drift inward, friction and collisions occur, dissipating some energy, allowing matter to settle. Some dust grains cling together upon contact, forming larger aggregates. Each collision is a quiet note in an expanding symphony, the prelude to star birth. Matter gathers, and in the densest regions, the very center begins to thrum with potential energy, compressed under the gentle insistence of gravity. Gravity also sculpts the larger shape of the cloud. It encourages elongation and rotation, flattening portions of the cloud slowly. No two regions behave identically. Turbulence stirs gas in erratic currents, weaving filaments that seem to drift on whims of their own. And yet, every twist, every turn, ultimately answers to the same patient tug, a reminder that in the vastness of space, order emerges from quiet persistence. Amidst this slow compression, tiny shock waves ripple outward. These waves are barely perceptible, yet they nudge particles into alignment, shepherding the densest clumps into spheres of influence. In some places, gravity's pull is stronger, and matter accelerates inward, forming embryonic cores where the dance quickens. The cloud is no longer a formless haze. Its rhythm has deepened, harmonized with a purpose only time can reveal. Even the smallest atoms feel the pull. Hydrogen and helium, the cloud's main ingredients, glide along gentle spirals, each obeying gravity's insistence. Dust grains, heavier and slower, tumble inward, sometimes joining in small clusters. Slowly, very slowly, a central concentration emerges, hinting at the future star at the heart of this cosmic lullaby. From afar, one could imagine this cloud as a vast, dark ocean. Gravity acts as a quiet tide, drawing matter toward its center. Waves of density rise and fall, forming crests and valleys, each fold a whisper of the life to come. Over millions of years, the tide never rushes. It never pushes too hard. It simply persists, guiding the cloud into form, shaping it with patient certainty. The cloud begins to spin with more clarity, its rotation gently flattening it into a disk. Matter moves in concentric patterns, circling the densest region like water around a drain. The interplay of inward pull and rotational motion stabilizes the disk, preventing immediate collapse while setting the stage for the core to grow denser and hotter. This balance is delicate, yet remarkably enduring, allowing the star's earliest seeds to take root. At the edges of the disk, particles still drift lazily, carried along by the residual currents of the cloud. Some are destined for the outer reaches, becoming future planets, comets, and asteroids. Others move inward, joining the growing central mass. In this gentle orchestration, every particle has a role, no matter how small, and each movement contributes to the emergence of a coherent whole. Gravity's pull is accompanied by another subtle companion: pressure. Gas resists compression, creating a soft counterbalance to the inward tug. This pressure slows the collapse, ensuring that matter does not rush uncontrollably toward the center. The interplay of forces, pulling and resisting, creates a rhythm of expansion and contraction, a breathing motion that will eventually give birth to a star. Even as the densest regions form, turbulence lingers. Tiny eddies of gas twist and spiral, injecting small fluctuations into the developing disk. These currents seed diversity, creating variations that will influence the distribution of planets and the future architecture of the solar system. What appears chaotic at first glance is actually part of a grander plan, guided by the same quiet hand of gravity. Time flows differently here. Millions of years pass like a heartbeat stretched to infinity, each increment imperceptible to human thought. And yet, within this slow river of time, matter organizes itself. Dust becomes pebbles, gas becomes streams, and the cloud, once shapeless and diffuse, begins to reveal its destiny. The first whispers of starlight are still far away, but the stage is set. Gravity continues to dominate, growing ever stronger in the densest regions. The central clump now weighs heavily upon itself, each layer compressing the one beneath. Temperature rises imperceptibly, a slow warning of the heat to come. This is the moment when potential begins to accumulate, when the star's future glimmer is stored in quiet compression and endless rotation. Around the central core, the disk spins with graceful persistence. Angular momentum ensures that material does not collapse instantly, creating a protective plane that will one day host planets and moons. The disk's rotation is calm, a steady spiral reflecting the laws of physics in their purest form. Dust and gas follow invisible lines of motion, tracing elegant arcs that prefigure the solar system's architecture. And so the cloud evolves, patient and deliberate. Gravity's gentle pull remains the guiding hand, coaxing atoms into motion, encouraging them to gather, to spiral, to participate in the slow construction of a star. Each particle, each droplet of dust, each atom of gas, is a participant in a dance millions of years long, performed in silence and darkness. The densest regions pulse with anticipation, energy accumulating in imperceptible increments. The central core is no longer just a gathering of particles. It is the embryo of a star, holding within it the promise of heat, light, and life-sustaining warmth. Gravity continues its quiet work, and the disk around it stabilizes, a cradle for the planets yet to come. As this chapter of the cloud's life draws to a close, the subtle tug of gravity is joined by another effect, the growing pressure and heating in the core. The stage is set for the next act in this cosmic story. Matter has organized, the disk has formed, and rotation preserves both momentum and balance. The cloud is ready to transition, from slow collapse to the first faint glimmer of heat and light. In this serene, measured way, gravity whispers across space, shaping the future star and its surrounding disk. It is patient, precise, and relentless in its calmness. The cosmic dance has entered its next movement, the compression of the core and the beginnings of warmth. The cloud has found its rhythm, and the first glow will soon emerge, as if the universe itself is taking a breath. And so the cloud waits, turning inward and around, held by the quiet insistence of gravity. Every atom, every grain of dust, every swirl of gas answers the pull, contributing to a symphony that spans millions of years. The darkness remains, but within it, the promise of light is gathering. As the cloud spins and flattens, the densest region at its heart begins to heat under compression. Soon, a faint glow will emerge, like the first ember in an eternal cosmic night, signaling the birth of a new star. The core of the cloud tightens. Compression, slow but relentless, generates warmth where once there was only cold emptiness. At first, the heat is imperceptible, a faint pulse deep within the densest region. Particles vibrate slightly faster, nudged by the pressure of their neighbors, and the darkness begins to hold a subtle promise. This glow is not yet light, not yet a star, but the whisper of one waiting to emerge. As atoms are forced closer together, collisions become more frequent. Each encounter converts motion into heat, tiny sparks of energy accumulating in the core. The surrounding gas, still cooler and tenuous, presses inward with quiet insistence. There is tension here, a delicate balance between gravity's pull and pressure's resistance. And within it, the seed of a star waits, patient and unassuming. Slowly, the glow strengthens. The core is still hidden beneath layers of gas and dust, yet the energy radiates outward. Photons are trapped, bouncing endlessly, as if the universe is rehearsing the act of illumination before the curtain rises. The disk around the core spins in silent circles, carrying matter that will one day form planets, moons, and comets. Each spiral is a trace of angular momentum, preserving the order born of that first gentle pull. Temperature rises imperceptibly. Hydrogen, the most abundant element, begins to feel the heat of compression. Electrons shift, protons vibrate, and the first hints of ionization stir within the core. The cloud around it remains cool, almost indifferent, yet the heart of the star pulses with potential. Here, the future fusion awaits, a force so quiet now that it seems almost like a secret. Around the core, the disk continues to rotate gracefully. Dust grains collide and stick, pebbles form, and icy particles migrate outward. Some regions clump, forming the seeds of worlds, while others drift lazily in the slow currents of gas. The motion is steady, continuous, as though every element in this nascent solar system has accepted its place. Chaos has given way to structure, all guided by the patient rhythms of physics. The glow at the center begins to permeate the surrounding envelope, a subtle warming that slightly stirs the surrounding gas. Tiny convection currents appear, carrying heat outward, mixing material, and creating gradients that will shape the star's future. These currents are gentle, almost imperceptible, yet they signify the core's awakening. Energy has begun to escape, even if only in infinitesimal amounts, and the universe around it is listening. Time stretches. Millions of years pass, but here they are measured not in hours or days, but in the slow accumulation of energy. The cloud breathes, expands, and contracts slightly under the competing forces of gravity and pressure. Turbulence persists at the edges, small whirlpools of gas that twist and fold unpredictably. Yet nothing here is wasted. Each motion, each collision, contributes to the shaping of the star and its surrounding disk. Within the core, density increases to astonishing levels. Hydrogen atoms are pressed so closely together that the potential for fusion begins to build. The smallest fluctuations in temperature can amplify, causing regions to glow slightly more than their neighbors. Light begins to flicker, almost hidden, as though the core is rehearsing before the first real act. The darkness around it remains profound, but inside, something is beginning to shine. The surrounding cloud, meanwhile, adjusts to the core's subtle energy. Radiation pressure, weak but real, begins to push outward. Gas and dust are slightly repelled, creating a tenuous boundary that balances the inward pull of gravity. This equilibrium is delicate, maintained with quiet precision, a prelude to the more violent forces that will dominate once fusion ignites. Tiny sparks of ionization travel outward, electrons separate from protons in localized regions, creating weak electric fields that stir the gas. These fields influence particle motion, nudging dust grains along paths that may determine where planets eventually form. The glow in the core is no longer entirely confined. Its influence reaches outward, touching the disk with gentle warmth. As density and temperature continue to rise, the core enters a critical stage. Every gram of matter is now pressing inward, and the pressure at the center grows unimaginably high. Hydrogen nuclei vibrate more violently, and the possibility of fusion hovers on the edge of reality. It is a balance between anticipation and restraint, where the laws of physics dictate the precise moment when the first nuclear reactions will take hold. Around the core, material continues to spiral, conserving angular momentum. Streams of gas flow along filaments in the disk, feeding the central mass while leaving room for the formation of secondary clumps. These clumps may one day become planets, their positions and motions influenced by the subtle forces still at work in the disk. Every movement is a thread in a tapestry that stretches from the center of the star to the outermost reaches of the system. The glow strengthens. Convection currents grow, mixing material more efficiently. Tiny pockets of hydrogen ignite briefly in microscopic bursts, producing heat that spreads slowly outward. These protoflares are insignificant now, yet they are the harbingers of the fusion that will transform the cloud into a star. Patience has been rewarded with potential. The darkness begins to hold a secret of illumination. At the edges of the disk, small clumps of dust and ice continue their silent journeys. They drift in the shadow of the central glow, moving along trajectories determined by the mass and motion of the forming star. Some will collide, stick together, and grow. Others may remain as wanderers, destined to form distant asteroids or icy comets. Each particle participates in the creation of a coherent system, even as the central core gathers strength. Time stretches further. The core's temperature reaches tens of thousands of degrees. Hydrogen nuclei collide more frequently, bouncing with energy generated by compression. The glow is now constant, though faint, and begins to affect the chemistry of the surrounding disk. Molecules of water, carbon monoxide, and ammonia experience slow heating, preparing the environment for the complex chemistry that may one day support life. The first photon escapes the dense core, traveling outward through the opaque cloud. It scatters, reflects, and slows, but it has begun the process of illuminating its surroundings. This tiny act is monumental. Light has emerged from darkness, however faintly, and the cloud responds. Gas and dust feel the gentle pressure of radiation, subtly shifting their orbits. The disk has noticed the awakening at the center. Even in this faint glow, patterns emerge. Spiral waves ripple through the disk, driven by the mass and rotation of the core. These waves may concentrate material in certain regions, prefiguring the locations of future planets. Dust grains follow these currents, clumping in subtle arcs. Gravity, radiation, and rotation collaborate in a silent choreography, shaping the architecture of the system before a single fusion reaction has fully ignited. The core's heartbeat grows steadier. Temperature and pressure continue to rise, and the first nuclear reactions are no longer improbable. They are inevitable. Hydrogen nuclei collide and fuse briefly, producing minuscule amounts of energy. The star has begun its initial flickers, a nascent ember in the cosmic night. The surrounding darkness still dominates, but now it holds a seed of uncontainable light. And so, a glow has appeared in the heart of the cloud. It is modest, hidden, fragile, yet unstoppable in its inevitability. The darkness will not last forever. Gravity, pressure, and angular momentum have orchestrated this emergence, each force contributing to the star's birth. The cloud has transformed from a diffuse haze into a structure capable of producing light, warmth, and, eventually, the environment necessary for planets. Soon, the glow will strengthen, and the first sustained fusion reactions will light the star fully. The surrounding disk will respond, and the building star will begin to shine outward, its warmth stretching across the vast expanse of gas and dust that once seemed endless and indifferent. In the quiet heart of the cloud, the first sparks of transformation ignite. Deep within, hydrogen atoms, once solitary and drifting, begin to collide, merging into helium in a gentle, constant rhythm. Each fusion releases energy, a soft pulse that slowly warms the surrounding layers. The darkness, once absolute, now trembles with the promise of light. The sun is no longer just a mass of gas. It begins to breathe. Tiny pulses of energy ripple outward, subtle expansions and contractions that hint at life. Imagine the star as a newborn, its eyes just opening, revealing faint glimpses of the light it will one day cast across vast reaches of space. Every photon is a whisper, a quiet announcement. I exist. I shine. Light and heat emerge not in a sudden blaze, but as a gradual unveiling. The core becomes a gentle furnace, radiating energy that slowly percolates through layers of hydrogen and helium. Each layer carries warmth outward, transforming the sun from a hidden ember into a glowing, living entity. You can almost hear it inhale and exhale, each breath a measure of time and energy, each exhale a gift to the surrounding space. The surrounding gas and dust, once aimless and drifting, feel the sun's presence. They respond to the warmth, the pressure, the gentle push of radiation. Winds begin to stir, currents ripple through the cloud, and the first subtle structures of the protoplanetary disk form. The sun's awakening is not just an internal event. It is a cosmic invitation, a signal that the surrounding matter is no longer alone. Energy travels outward in waves, photons scattering and bouncing until they finally escape, carrying light across space. Though faint at first, this light is persistent. It touches the edges of the forming solar system, hinting at the order that is slowly emerging. Dust grains glimmer as they catch the early rays, and icy particles reflect the warmth in subtle sparkles. The sun's presence begins to shape the material that will one day become planets, moons, and comets. The fusion at the core is a gentle song of transformation. Each hydrogen nucleus converted to helium releases energy that warms the sun from within, stabilizing its structure. Convection currents move this heat outward, cycling matter in a slow, meditative dance. Gravity, which once dominated, now finds a balance with this outward pressure, allowing the sun to breathe steadily. It is a rhythm that will persist for billions of years, a constant, quiet heartbeat at the center of the solar system. The light spreads not only warmth but also influence. In the disk around the sun, regions of higher density begin to emerge. Dust and gas respond to this gentle energy, gathering in subtle clumps. Over time, these clumps will become the seeds of planets, slowly growing in size and structure. Collisions and coalescence happen quietly, guided by the sun's invisible hand. Its light is a sculptor's tool, shaping the raw materials with patience and precision. Even in its infancy, the sun exerts a gentle authority. Solar winds, tiny yet persistent streams of charged particles, begin to push outward, clearing paths in the surrounding cloud. They carve subtle channels through the dust, revealing patterns of motion and rotation. These winds are like whispers, nudging matter into alignment, shaping the environment without force, just presence. The glow reaches beyond the immediate surroundings. Farther out, in the cooler regions of the disk, icy particles begin to experience slight melting and refreezing. Molecules of water, carbon dioxide, and methane dance in response to the warmth. Chemistry begins to awaken, laying the groundwork for future atmospheres and oceans. The sun, in its infancy, is already orchestrating a cosmic symphony, a prelude to the complex worlds that will emerge. Time seems to stretch here. Millions of years pass, yet everything unfolds slowly, almost imperceptibly. The sun grows in stability, its light becoming more persistent, more reliable. You can imagine it as a gentle guardian, settling into a steady rhythm, radiating life-giving energy that will one day reach a small, blue planet. There is a poetic intimacy in this moment. The sun, once hidden within the dark cloud, now asserts itself. It has transformed potential into action, matter into light. The first warmth brushes against the forming solar system, touching dust, ice, and gas with soft fingers. It is not a blaze of fire, but a slow, patient awakening. The start of a light that will travel across billions of kilometers, bridging time and space. As the newborn sun breathes, it begins to influence the motion of planets yet to form. Angular momentum guides the swirling disk, shaping the orbits of material, hinting at the paths that future planets will follow. Gravity and light collaborate in silence, a duet of force and illumination, gently sculpting the architecture of the solar system. In this early stage, energy and matter are intimately connected. Every photon that escapes is a story of fusion, a record of the sun's first breaths. The heat moving through the layers of gas carries the promise of life, of planets warmed by sunlight, of worlds touched by the steady pulse of a star. The sun is no longer just a collection of hydrogen and helium. It is a living presence, a gentle sculptor of time and space. The awakening is gradual, beautiful, and complete in its own quiet way. The sun now shines with purpose, and its light begins to define the space around it. Dust grains reflect, currents swirl, and the protoplanetary disk settles into motion. Future planets, comets, and asteroids respond, guided by the steady warmth and energy of their star. The sun has opened its eyes, and the cosmic stage is ready. And so, as the sun awakens, you can imagine the first light brushing across a newborn solar system. It is a light of warmth and promise, a gentle hand shaping worlds before they even exist. The heart of the sun beats steadily, a rhythm that will endure for billions of years, a quiet guide for all that will follow. Its awakening marks the beginning of a story of creation, motion, and light. A story in which every photon carries a whisper of life yet to come. From this first breath of light, the sun begins to shape its surroundings, influencing the forming solar system with calm persistence. Dust and gas respond, planetary embryos take shape, and the stage for future worlds is set. The sun's awakening is not just a moment. It is the gentle beginning of everything that will come, a luminous promise that even in the vast darkness, life-giving warmth can emerge. The newborn sun, still tender in its brilliance, cast its gentle warmth across the surrounding cloud of gas and dust. Around it, a vast, swirling disk of matter, fragments of rock, ice, and fine cosmic dust, danced in slow, hypnotic spirals. This protoplanetary disk was alive in its own way, a quiet ballet of creation, moving under the subtle pull of gravity, whispering the secrets of formation. Each tiny particle, no bigger than a grain of sand, held potential within it. Collisions, soft at first, became more frequent, more purposeful. Dust clung to dust, ice embraced rock, and slowly, the first hints of solid worlds began to take shape. These were the embryos of planets, tender spheres gathering mass from the surrounding cloud, unhurried but determined. In the vast silence, these early planetary embryos spun and tumbled, bumping gently, merging gradually. Some were destined to grow into mighty giants, while others remained small, delicate, like pebbles scattered along a cosmic shore. The process was not violent, not harsh. It was patient, meticulous, a sculptor shaping its art with care and persistence. Every collision, every embrace of matter, whispered a quiet promise. The universe is patient, and creation is a slow, deliberate act. The sun's radiant light reached into this swirling disk, not just illuminating it, but guiding it. It warmed the inner regions, causing ices to evaporate, leaving heavier elements behind. It flickered across the outer edges, where frost could survive, helping the icy cores of distant worlds to coalesce. The sun was a subtle choreographer, its glow a rhythm to which the nascent planets moved. Amid the whirling disk, small sparks of activity took place. Gas streams coiled around larger rocks, forming rings and clumps. Minute gravitational tugs nudged these clumps toward each other. Slowly, over millions of years, the small fragments became larger, and the larger fragments became more dominant. Each tiny dance of matter contributed to a greater order, an intricate harmony of growth and shaping. The early solar system was both chaotic and calm. It was chaotic in the sense that every collision held uncertainty. Every merger could send a particle veering in a new direction. Yet it was calm because there was no rush, no urgency. Time was abundant, and the cosmic sculptor knew its work was eternal. There was an elegance in this duality, a paradox of movement and stillness, of randomness and design. Some of the growing planetary embryos would never reach full formation. Their paths would be altered by near misses, by the gravitational pull of their larger siblings. Others would collide, releasing bursts of heat, light, and reshaping material, only to settle into new forms. These cosmic interactions were gentle yet profound, a reminder that creation does not demand perfection. It demands persistence, patience, and the quiet guidance of a luminous heart at the center. The sun watched all this in silence. Its warmth reached every corner of the disk, its light nurturing the seeds of worlds. It was the quiet anchor, the pulse of energy that allowed matter to find balance, to find shape, to begin the slow process of becoming. Without this steady presence, the swirling chaos would never resolve into the ordered system that would eventually cradle life on one small planet. In the outer reaches, far from the sun's immediate warmth, gas giants began to emerge. Massive cores, cloaked in thick envelopes of hydrogen and helium, captured wandering particles and smaller fragments with gentle, inevitable gravity. Their formation was a slow accumulation, a quiet assertion of presence in the cold reaches of space. Meanwhile, closer to the sun, rocky worlds like tiny beads of clay took shape, slowly hardened by repeated collisions, tempered by heat, and carved by the invisible hand of gravity. Through all this, the sun's light remained a constant companion. It was not merely illumination but a pulse of life energy, a subtle signal that the system was forming according to rules older than the planets themselves. Heat and light streamed outward, shaping atmospheres, influencing chemical interactions, and gently steering the protoplanetary disk toward order. Even in its infancy, the sun's role was profound. A quiet, radiant guide, patient and unwavering, weaving the threads of matter into the tapestry of a solar system. As the dust settled and the embryos grew into more distinct planetary forms, a rhythm emerged. Orbits began to stabilize, and the chaotic dances slowed into predictable paths. The sun, now shining steadily, became the heartbeat of this young system, its warmth and light setting the pace for the planet's eternal waltz. Each world carried traces of these early days, the memory of dust, the imprint of collisions, the essence of slow, patient formation. In this cosmic studio, the sculptor, the sun, continued its work, shaping the contours of worlds, casting shadows and light that would guide future growth. The planets would someday carry atmospheres, oceans, mountains, and valleys, but for now, they were raw, unformed, brimming with potential. Each planet's journey had begun, delicately tethered to the central star, each orbit a testament to balance, patience, and the quiet artistry of cosmic forces. As you imagine this scene, picture the swirling disk, a spiral of infinite possibilities. Dust grains glinting in sunlight, icy fragments drifting gently, rock clumps colliding with soft impact. Hear the whisper of the protoplanetary disk, the gentle hum of gravity, the soft murmur of creation. And through it all, see the sun, a luminous, patient sculptor, guiding the formation of worlds with warmth and light, a silent architect of the solar system's destiny. The newborn planets, once mere fragments, were now finding their place. Some would journey closer to the sun, warming under its glow, others farther out, developing icy hearts in the frigid outer reaches. Yet all were united by the sun's presence, by its light and heat, by the quiet rhythm it had set. The system was no longer just a cloud of gas and dust. It had become a family of worlds, each unique, each shaped by the same central energy. And so, the sun's gentle sculpting continued, day by day, million year by million year, until the stage was set for the planets to fully emerge. Soon, one small world would find the perfect orbit, bathed in the right amount of light and heat to host life. But for now, the universe was patient, the dance of creation ongoing, and the sun's radiance a quiet, steady guide through the cosmic dawn. In the calm of space, the newborn solar system whispered its promise. Here was the beginning of everything familiar yet extraordinary. Planets, moons, comets, and the delicate balance that would one day support life. All of it sculpted in silence, under the watchful glow of the sun. The quiet artist whose light would become the heartbeat of a young system, shaping worlds in its gentle, unwavering hand. The sun had awakened, and the universe, in its infinite patience, began to take shape around it. As planets emerged from the swirling disk, the sun's light became more than warmth. It was the heartbeat of the solar system, touching each world, guiding their orbits, and eventually shaping the very environment that would cradle life. Soon, the sun would reveal another aspect of its presence. Its dynamic, sometimes tempestuous nature, in a display of stellar weather that would sculpt the young planets in subtle, profound ways. Even a quiet sun is never truly still. Beneath its calm glow, currents of plasma churn and ripple, sending waves of energy through its searing surface. Magnetic fields twist and coil like invisible ribbons, tugging and pulling with gentle yet persistent force. Sunspots form in these shifting patterns, dark, cooler regions that mark the restless heart of a star. They are not imperfections but signatures of vitality, signs that the sun is alive, a dynamic presence in the young solar system. From the sun's surface, bursts of charged particles erupt, streaming outward in a slow, invisible wind. This solar wind flows continuously, sweeping across the orbits of planets, brushing them with unseen fingers of energy. Some particles collide with planetary magnetic fields, sparking auroras that dance in colors beyond imagination. Others simply drift into the void, carrying whispers of the sun's restless spirit across the cold, empty spaces between worlds. The young sun was particularly lively. Its stellar weather was more volatile than the gentle currents of the later years, sending waves of plasma and radiation outward with energetic insistence. Each eruption, each flare, reshaped the environment of the planets. Atmospheres were sculpted and stripped, magnetic fields tested, surfaces kissed by energy that would leave lasting marks. The solar wind was not destructive, it was formative. Carved, it molded, it prepared the planets for the long journey ahead. Imagine a small, rocky world near the sun, its surface still cooling from the collisions that built it. Streams of charged particles strike it, bending around its growing magnetic field, sparking currents and heating pockets of its early crust. These invisible forces leave an imprint, shaping geological processes in ways subtle but profound. Mountains, valleys, and early volcanoes respond to the heat and energy carried by the sun's stellar breath. The planet is alive under this influence, its surface and interior both molded by the persistent pulse of its star. Farther out, icy worlds feel the solar wind differently. Lacking thick atmospheres or strong magnetic fields, they are touched more gently. Yet even here, the sun's activity leaves a mark. Faint glows form as particles strike frozen surfaces, sputtering tiny bursts of light that hint at the invisible storms raging nearby. Comets, drifting in distant orbits, are shaped and eroded, tails stretching gracefully in response to the relentless push of solar energy. The solar wind is a sculptor on every scale, invisible yet insistent, quiet yet powerful. And then there are the flares, sudden luminous bursts that flare across the sun's surface like a cosmic heartbeat. In these moments, energy floods outward, carrying waves of radiation that travel across space at unimaginable speed. A nearby planet feels a sudden jolt, its magnetic field flexing and bending, its atmosphere stirred into motion. These moments are brief but profound, a reminder that even in the calm of space, life-giving energy moves in pulses, not just a steady glow. Through the stellar weather, the young sun was teaching its planet's resilience. To exist in the warmth of a star is to endure, to adapt, to respond to forces beyond your control. The solar wind may strip away atmosphere, but it also drives chemical reactions, ignites auroras, and carries heat that molds surfaces. Stellar flares may scorch, but they also spark interactions that will one day allow life to flourish on the right world. The sun is not a passive parent. It is an active teacher, shaping its children with invisible hands. Magnetic storms twist across the sun's surface, loops of charged plasma arching into space like grand sculptures of light. These arcs erupt, sending cascades of particles outward, invisible to the eye but tangible in effect. On nearby planets, magnetic fields dance in response, auroras shimmer across early skies, and upper atmospheres hum with energy. Each of these interactions is a quiet lesson in balance. Forces push and pull, energy flows, and the universe responds with subtle, intricate patterns. Even the most distant planets are not immune. The outer giants, wrapped in thick clouds of gas, feel the solar wind in faint pulses, nudging the edges of their magnetospheres. Moons orbiting these giants encounter streams of charged particles, sparking faint auroral glows and warming layers of ice, just enough to encourage chemical reactions beneath the surface. The sun's influence reaches far, beyond the visible, shaping the architecture of the entire system with patient, persistent force. Yet this stellar weather is not just about shaping matter, it is about rhythm. The sun pulses with cycles of activity, waxing and waning in a pattern older than the planets themselves. Periods of calm are followed by bursts of energy, as if the star itself breathes, inhales, and exhales in a cosmic cadence. Planets, in response, find stability within this rhythm, learning to orbit and endure, to accept the push and pull of forces larger than themselves. The dance of solar weather is both chaotic and patterned, a duality that teaches adaptation and resilience. Sometimes, solar storms collide with one another, creating waves of energy that ripple through the solar system. These storms are unpredictable yet bound by the invisible logic of magnetism and gravity. Planets feel the pulses differently, each response unique. Some may shield themselves with magnetic fields, others surrender to the energy, absorbing it into their atmospheres, crusts, or icy surfaces. Each interaction leaves a subtle trace, a record of the star's influence etched into the planets themselves. Through all this, the sun remains luminous, a constant source of light and heat. The stellar weather is not a threat but a form of guidance. It shapes, challenges, and teaches, helping each planet discover its own strength and identity. In time, one world, at just the right distance, with a protective magnetic field and the right balance of atmosphere, would become a cradle for life. But long before that, every planet learned the rhythm of its star, the delicate pulse of energy that sustains and shapes everything in its path. In your mind's eye, see the solar storm stretching across space, invisible yet mighty. Imagine the auroras dancing on early planetary atmospheres, the icy surfaces of distant moons glowing faintly under charged particles. Hear the hum of magnetospheres responding. Feel the warmth of solar energy brushing across surfaces near and far. This is the quiet power of stellar weather, shaping worlds, molding matter, and teaching resilience, all without a sound in the emptiness of space. The sun's influence is ongoing, relentless yet gentle. It is a reminder that even in apparent calm, forces are at work, shaping, pushing, guiding, and sustaining. Every flare, every solar wind, every magnetic twist is a note in a symphony older than the planets, a melody that will eventually cradle life and set the stage for every ocean, every storm, every breath. Stellar weather is both sculptor and teacher, invisible yet eternal, shaping worlds with a patient, unwavering hand. And so, the planets continue their journey, each orbiting in the rhythm of the sun's invisible hand. Rocky worlds grow solid, icy giants amass gas, and moons form in the shadows of giants. All bear the subtle marks of stellar weather, traces of energy and motion that will influence every future event. From these silent, invisible interactions, the solar system is slowly becoming the place we know, a world of balance, of energy, and of life-sustaining potential. The sun, ever luminous, continues its work. Its light warms, its winds shape, and its storms sculpt. And in this ongoing dance of energy and matter, the young planets learn to exist, to endure, to orbit, and to thrive. Stellar weather is more than a force. It is the subtle, patient guidance of a star, teaching the young solar system how to survive, adapt, and flourish. Amid the swirling disk of gas, dust, and countless tiny fragments, one world began to settle. Its shape was still rough, a patchwork of molten rock and nascent crust, yet it moved with a rhythm that would define its future. Around it, the sun shone steadily, a quiet, luminous guardian, drawing the young planet into a delicate orbit. This was not mere chance. It was a careful dance, a choreography of gravity and time, each step precise, each motion purposeful. The Earth's path around the sun was just right, not too close, not too far. Here, in this narrow band of space known as the habitable zone, temperatures could allow water to linger in liquid form, to pool in valleys and carve channels across rocky surfaces. This orbit, circular yet subtly influenced by distant neighbors, was a cosmic cradle. The sun's warmth wrapped the planet like a protective cloak, radiating gentle energy that would one day nurture oceans, atmosphere, and life itself. Imagine the early Earth as a newborn, swaddled in the glow of its parent star. Its surface shimmered with molten rock, cooling slowly, forming the beginnings of continents. Beneath, the planet's interior churned, a hidden heartbeat of molten metals and convecting layers. Through this turmoil, the atmosphere began to emerge, a fragile envelope of gases exhaled by volcanic vents and chemical reactions. It was thin, tender, yet filled with potential, ready to support the cycles of water, heat, and eventually, life. Water, arriving in droplets from icy comets and condensation within the primordial atmosphere, began to settle in basins and lowlands. The oceans formed quietly, like the first breath of a living being. The sun's gentle warmth evaporated some of this water, creating clouds that drifted slowly, circulating moisture and energy across the planet. This interplay of light, heat, and fluid motion became the first pulse of climate, the subtle rhythm that would shape rivers, winds, and seasons for billions of years. The balance of Earth's orbit and tilt ensured that the planet neither froze nor scorched. Each day brought the warmth of sunlight, each night a gentle cooling, a cycle of nurturing contrasts. Seasons began to whisper into existence, subtle changes in light and heat sculpting the early environment. Volcanoes and oceans, winds and tides, all responded to the sun's steady presence, finding a harmony that was both fragile and enduring. Even the smallest details mattered. The tilt of the Earth's axis would guide the movement of sunlight across its surface, producing gentle variations that would later influence climates, plant growth, and the rhythms of life. The planet's rotation, spinning at just the right pace, kept the air moving and the oceans stirred, preventing stagnation. Gravity held everything together, from the rising mists of volcanoes to the drifting dust of distant impacts, ensuring that the newborn Earth remained whole, cradled securely in the sun's embrace. There were moments of turbulence. Asteroids and comets, remnants of the early solar system, still wandered near the young Earth. Collisions scarred the surface, leaving craters and reshaping landscapes. Yet these events were part of the same careful choreography, a process of refinement. Each impact redistributed material, sometimes delivering water, sometimes creating molten pools that would cool into fertile rock. The sun, steadfast and patient, continued to guide the planet, its gravity and light offering both challenge and protection. Through millions of years, the Earth's layers settled. The crust thickened, oceans stabilized, and the atmosphere gained depth. The planet, once a chaotic collection of dust and rock, had begun to emerge as a coherent world. It orbited the sun with a quiet certainty, each rotation and revolution a testament to the precision of cosmic forces. The sun's rays warmed the surface consistently, nurturing the stage for life's eventual appearance. The Earth's relationship with the sun was intimate, like that between a mother and her child. The sun provided light, warmth, and energy, while the Earth responded with motion, reflection, and subtle transformation. Seasons whispered the passage of time, tides marked the rhythm of water, and the rotation of the planet set the beat of day and night. In this interplay, the foundations for life were being carefully laid. Oceans cradling nascent chemistry, land masses forming shelter, and the atmosphere offering protection and continuity. Even in its youth, Earth was a world of promise. Clouds gathered, rain fell, and oceans shimmered in sunlight. Winds moved gently across the surface, shaping landscapes in subtle ways. Volcanoes exhaled both gases and minerals, seeding the environment with building blocks for chemistry yet to come. In every motion, every pulse of energy, the sun's influence was felt. Steady, consistent, life-giving. And so the stage for life began to set. The Earth had found its place in the solar system, its orbit perfectly tuned, its environment slowly stabilizing. The dance of gravity had concluded for now, leaving a world ready to receive the next great transformations. Water, air, warmth, and light, the essential companions of life, were present, circulating in rhythms that echoed the gentle pull of the sun. In the quiet of space, Earth rotated, spun, and revolved, embraced by the sun's light. It was a fragile balance, a precise harmony, yet remarkably enduring. The planet, a newborn cradled in cosmic care, had found its home. From this careful placement, the endless possibilities of life would begin to emerge, quietly, patiently, and beautifully. The sun's radiance reached every corner of the early Earth, a silent promise that the world was ready. Soon, in the interplay of light and water, atmosphere and land, life would stir. But for now, Earth simply existed in perfect orbit, warmed and protected, a young world poised at the edge of becoming. The delicate dance between Earth and Sun continued, uninterrupted and eternal. Each day, sunlight caressed the surface. Each night, the planet cooled under the shadow of space. In this balance, the stage for life was carefully laid, a cosmic cradle rocking gently in the rhythm of the solar system. From this careful alignment, life's story would one day unfold, beginning in the quiet, nurtured warmth of a world that had found its place. The sun, a luminous heart at the center of the solar system, poured its energy outward in the form of photons, tiny travelers of light, racing across the vacuum of space. Each photon began its journey deep within the sun's core, where immense pressures and temperatures forged nuclear fusion. Born in the chaos of colliding atoms, each particle of light waited for its chance to escape, a captive energy navigating a dense, shifting sea of plasma for thousands of years before emerging into the quiet openness of space. And then, suddenly, free at last, the photon began its true voyage. In minutes, it would reach the Earth, racing across 93 million miles of space in the blink of a cosmic eye. Yet each ray of sunlight carried more than energy. It carried a story, a bridge across time and distance, connecting the sun's ancient interior to the young, watery surface of our planet. Every morning, when the first light touches oceans, mountains, and forests, Earth receives a messenger from the sun's distant heart, a traveler born millions of years before, now bathing the world in warmth. Imagine the journey of one such photon. Born in the furnace of fusion, it wove through a billion collisions with other particles, jostled in every direction, until it finally burst forth from the sun's surface, escaping into the void. From there, it traveled 500 seconds, 8 minutes and 20 seconds, before reaching your eyes. The sunlight that now warms your face began as nuclear fire, transformed into a gentle glow that connects the vastness of space with the intimacy of your existence. Time, in this sense, becomes pliable. The sun's light is both present and ancient, a constant reminder that the cosmos operates on scales far beyond human lifetimes. As the photons arrive, they illuminate the world with golden clarity, revealing textures and colors, shadows and contours. They warm the ocean, energize the air, and awaken the rhythms of life. Yet they are also silent historians, chronicling the sun's own evolution. Each particle carries information about its birthplace, the fusion reactions that forged it, the turbulence it endured, and the magnetic fields that nudged it. In sunlight, Earth receives not only energy but also the quiet testimony of stellar processes, a cosmic diary written in waves of light. Step back and consider the scale. The photons that touch you now may have begun their journey before Earth itself was fully formed. Some may have emerged during the early stages of the solar system, drifting across space for billions of years before arriving at our blue planet. When you stand in sunlight, you are literally bathed in ancient history, held in a continuum that spans time, connecting the present to the deep past. Your moment of warmth is an intersection of cosmic journeys, a brief point where your life meets the ancient energy of the sun. Sunlight is not only a traveler of time but a connector of places. As photons stream across space, they move unimpeded by distance, unbound by gravity's subtle tugs except for the grand arcs of celestial orbits. Each photon is a link between the sun and Earth, a direct line of influence spanning millions of kilometers. The energy it carries sustains the climate, drives the winds, nurtures photosynthesis, and powers the delicate cycles of water and air. Without this connection, Earth would remain cold and lifeless, a silent rock spinning in darkness. With it, the planet flourishes, teeming with potential. Imagine, for a moment, that you could follow a single photon on its journey. You would see the sun's roiling surface, waves of plasma dancing in magnetic embrace, solar flares bursting with unrestrained energy. You would glide past planets, witnessing their orbits, their atmospheres, their subtle interactions with the sun's light. And finally, after a voyage measured in minutes and yet echoing the sun's ancient history, you would touch Earth, transferring warmth, color, and energy. It is a humbling thought. Every beam of sunlight is a cosmic traveler, a bridge between stars and life, time and perception. Yet photons do more than illuminate. They synchronize. The Earth spins, marking days and nights, yet it is the light from the sun that defines this rhythm. Every sunrise and sunset is a signal from across space, a reminder that our world exists in relation to something much larger. Sunlight choreographs the cycles of plants, the migration of animals, and the timing of human activity. It is a silent conductor, invisible yet palpable, orchestrating life with precision born of the vastness of space. Consider the colors of sunlight as well. Each hue is a different wavelength, a distinct energy, arriving at Earth simultaneously. Reds, oranges, greens, and blues, all traveling the same distance, yet experienced in harmony. This spectrum, born of the sun's interior processes, paints our world and shapes the photosynthetic machinery of plants. It is a reminder that life is intimately linked to the characteristics of light, and that the composition of the sun has direct consequences for existence on Earth. Sunlight is more than energy. It is a sculptor of life, shaping biology as surely as gravity shapes planetary orbits. And what of night, when the sun dips below the horizon? Even then, the light that bathed the planet earlier continues to resonate. Oceans hold its warmth. Rocks retain its heat. Plants store the energy it provided. Sunlight, once arriving, leaves traces, a subtle reminder that the influence of the sun is continuous, bridging day and night, past and future. It is a presence that persists, even in absence, a cosmic lullaby whispering across time. To stand in sunlight is to witness a paradox of scale. The warmth and brilliance you feel is immediate, intimate, and personal, yet its origin stretches across millions of kilometers and billions of years. Time is woven into the photons, and you, in turn, are woven into their journey. Every moment of daylight is a meditation on connectivity, a reflection on how life is sustained by forces beyond comprehension, yet experienced intimately. Sunlight is a bridge, linking the vastness of the universe to the smallest, most fleeting human experiences. So, next time you feel the sun on your skin, remember the journey behind it. Each ray carries stories of fusion and turbulence, of distances unimaginable, of time that predates your birth. And in this light, you are connected not only to your surroundings but to the cosmos itself. Bathed in sunlight, you are part of an ancient, ongoing exchange, a delicate interplay of energy and matter, time and space. The Earth, cradled in its orbit, receives these travelers daily, integrating the sun's energy into the cycles of life. Oceans, winds, plants, and creatures all respond, turning sunlight into motion, chemistry, and growth. In this way, the journey of light becomes inseparable from the journey of life, the rhythm of existence, and the unfolding story of Earth. As you close your eyes in the warmth of sunlight, allow yourself to feel the continuity of this journey. Imagine photons born in the core of the sun, traversing space for minutes, decades, or millennia, only to reach your presence now. The energy you feel, the light you see, is a direct connection to the cosmos, a living thread linking the sun to Earth, past to present, and life to the vast universe. Sunlight is more than illumination. It is time made tangible, travel made perceptible, and life made possible. Every photon carries history, energy, and potential. Every day, billions of them arrive to bathe Earth in warmth, to touch oceans and forests, to awaken life from slumber. In these small, fleeting moments, the cosmos reveals its quiet generosity, offering its energy to sustain the fragile, beautiful complexity of our planet. And as the day continues, remember this. The sun's light is a traveler that connects epochs, a gentle bridge across time, a cosmic thread that binds Earth to the stellar heart at the center of our solar system. The photons that reach your skin, your eyes, your very being, are messengers of both energy and story, whispers of ancient processes, and gifts of light across time. Every morning, the sun rises, and the world listens. Its light pours across mountains, rivers, and cities, telling stories written in photons, waves, and warmth. These stories are older than any human memory, older than forests or oceans, older than the earth itself. The sun does not speak with words, yet its messages are unmistakable. The rhythm of day and night, the changing of seasons, the cycles of growth and decay, all are narratives carried in light. Consider the sunrise. The first rays spill over the horizon, painting clouds with pink and gold. These colors are the sun's opening lines, crafted by the scattering of light through the atmosphere. Shorter wavelengths, blues and violets, bend and diffuse, while reds and oranges dominate the sky. In this subtle shift, the sun narrates a daily story of energy and physics, a silent performance that humans and animals alike recognize. Birds take flight. Plants adjust their leaves. Even the air seems to shimmer with anticipation. All of nature reads the sun's script. The sun's tales are not only about color but also about time. Its position in the sky measures the hours, divides days into cycles, and establishes patterns that life depends upon. For millennia, humans have used these patterns to organize their lives, to plant crops, to navigate the seas, and to mark the passage of years. In its arc across the sky, the sun is both a storyteller and a historian, recording epochs through shadows, light, and seasonal shifts. Each day, the narrative begins anew, yet it carries echoes of all that has come before. Look closely at a leaf in sunlight. The sun's photons strike its surface, initiating photosynthesis, a biochemical story of transformation. Carbon dioxide and water are transformed into glucose and oxygen, a process written in light and chemistry. In every plant, the sun's tale unfolds an energy captured, stored, and passed along to sustain entire ecosystems. The narrative continues in insects, herbivores, and carnivores, each step tracing the journey of sunlight through food webs. In this way, the sun is not just an observer. It is an active author of life, writing chapters invisible to the eye but essential to existence. Even the patterns of the seasons are a story told with deliberate cadence. The tilt of Earth's axis and its orbit around the sun create the ebb and flow of light, alternating warmth and cold, growth and dormancy. Spring is a tale of awakening, summer a narrative of abundance, autumn a reflection on change, and winter a pause, a quiet chapter of stillness. Each season brings its own mood, its own lessons, its own rhythm. The sun's storytelling shapes not only the natural world but human culture as well, inspiring rituals, festivals, and art across civilizations. The sun also tells stories in contrasts. Shadows stretch long and thin, revealing the contours of mountains, the curves of valleys, the textures of sand and stone. These shadows are as much a part of the sun's narrative as the light itself. They teach depth, form, and perspective, guiding perception and influencing the way we experience space. In every sunrise and sunset, in every angle of illumination, the sun composes a visual language that conveys movement, time, and dimensionality. And then there is the hidden story of light itself. Each photon carries information about the sun's inner workings, about fusion reactions in its core, about magnetic fields that twist and churn its surface, about plasma currents that dance invisibly across millions of kilometers. In a sense, every beam of sunlight is a letter, every spectrum a sentence, each pattern of light a paragraph in the ongoing story of our star. By observing sunlight, scientists have learned the sun's temperature, composition, and age. The sun's storytelling reaches even into the realm of knowledge, connecting humanity to the cosmos through observation, inference, and understanding. The sun's tales extend beyond Earth. Its light reaches distant planets, moons, and comets, sculpting their surfaces and influencing their atmospheres. It paints the clouds of Jupiter, warms the deserts of Mars, and caresses the icy rings of Saturn. In each of these worlds, the sun is a narrator, shaping conditions, igniting chemical reactions, and driving motion. Its story is not limited to a single planet, but spans an entire solar system, binding diverse worlds through shared energy and influence. Yet the sun is also a teller of cautionary tales. Its flares, coronal mass ejections, and bursts of ultraviolet radiation remind us of its immense power. Life on Earth thrives because of the sun, but it also survives because of magnetic fields, atmospheres, and protective layers that shield it from extremes. The sun teaches respect for forces larger than ourselves, reminding us that life depends not only on energy received, but on balance maintained. Its story is one of generosity and danger intertwined, a cosmic lesson in both creation and preservation. The sun's narrative is ongoing, continuous, and inexhaustible. It is not constrained by human calendars or lifetimes. Even as one day ends, the sun's story persists, traveling through space, interacting with planets, and sustaining stars. Its photons carry history and potential, energy and information, weaving a tapestry that connects past, present, and future. Every dawn, you are invited to read a new page, to witness a new sentence, to feel the continuation of a tale that began long before your birth and will persist long after. Even in the quiet of night, the sun's story lingers. Its light refracted through the atmosphere paints lingering colors on clouds and water. Reflections of sunlight glimmer on surfaces, guiding nocturnal life and influencing cycles unseen. The warmth stored in the soil and sea continues to shape winds and tides. The sun's presence is felt even in absence. Its story is never truly silent. In this way, the sun teaches that influence does not always need to be immediate to be profound, that light, once given, continues to speak. Human imagination has always been drawn to the sun's stories. Myths, legends, and poems personify it as a god, a hero, a charioteer racing across the sky. Science decodes its processes, yet the poetry remains. In every beam of light, in every shadow, in every cycle of the seasons, the sun communicates a narrative both understandable and mysterious, tangible and intangible. It reminds us that science and art are intertwined, two ways of listening to the stories the universe tells. And so, as you rise with the sun or watch it sink below the horizon, remember, each moment is part of a larger story. You are both observer and participant, reading a narrative written in photons and shadows, cycles and seasons. The sun's tales reach through space and time to touch you personally, shaping your experience and nurturing life itself. To witness sunlight is to engage with the universe's ongoing storytelling, to feel yourself within a chapter that is alive, vibrant, and profound. When you feel the warmth on your face or see the golden glow on the horizon, allow yourself to hear the story. The sun speaks in light and heat, in color and shadow, in rhythm and pattern. Every sunrise is an opening line, every midday a climax, every sunset a resolution. Life, in turn, responds to the narrative, growing, moving, and flourishing under the sun's attentive eye. In this way, storytelling becomes a universal language, and the sun is its most patient and generous narrator. So, when night falls and stars emerge, remember that the sun's story continues, even when it is out of sight. Its influence lingers, shaping the oceans, the air, and the cycles of life. And tomorrow, it will rise again, offering a new chapter, a fresh line, a continuation of a tale older than memory, warmer than the heart, and brighter than understanding. In the sun's light, you are always a listener, a reader, and a participant in the grand story of the cosmos. Light travels quietly, faithfully, across the vastness of space. It carries the sun's presence, bridging distances that are almost unimaginable, connecting the heart of our star to every corner of the solar system. Each photon is both messenger and witness, a particle of energy that has journeyed millions of kilometers to reach Earth. Some photons leave the sun and arrive in a matter of minutes. Others take longer paths, bouncing, bending, or scattering through cosmic dust, carrying whispers of time and distance in their steady motion. The radiance we see is, in a sense, a message from the past, a luminous bridge across time itself. Consider the sunlight that warms your skin. The photons bathing you now were born deep in the sun's core, where hydrogen fuses into helium, releasing energy that takes thousands of years to reach the surface. Only then do they escape into space, moving freely at the speed of light toward Earth. When you feel the sun's warmth, You are feeling the echo of countless generations of nuclear reactions, the accumulated patience of stellar processes that unfold on scales far beyond human perception. You are touching the sun's history, and in that touch, your present moment intersects with cosmic time. Light is deceptively simple and profoundly complex at the same time. It moves in waves and particles, behaves as both, yet neither completely. It bends when it passes near massive objects. It scatters in the sky to paint it blue. It refracts through prisms to reveal rainbows. In every instance, light is a storyteller, transmitting information about the world it travels through, the space it crosses, and the source it came from. The sun's radiance is timeless because it is ceaseless, because it is both a snapshot and a chronicle, present and eternal. Even in the darkness of space, light never truly stops. It stretches across vacuum, interacts with dust and gas, illuminates planets and moons, and sometimes travels billions of years before meeting an observer. In this way, light is the ultimate traveler, carrying stories across time and space without faltering. Its journey is a testament to endurance and constancy, a subtle reminder that connection does not require presence, that influence does not require immediacy. In light, past, present, and future converge in a single radiant thread. On Earth, this radiance becomes tangible. Sunlight nourishes life, guiding the growth of plants, the migration of animals, the rhythm of ecosystems. It paints landscapes, sculpts shadows, and breathes color into the world. Yet even here, light's passage tells stories of time. The angle of the sun changes throughout the day and year, creating cycles that shape life. Ancient civilizations tracked the sun's movement to understand seasons, planting schedules, and navigation. Every shadow cast by sunlight is a chronometer, every hue a marker of planetary motion. Light is both illumination and record, a guide to understanding both nature and time. Our perception of sunlight is intimately tied to our experience of time. Morning light awakens us. Noon light centers our attention. Evening light signals closure and rest. Our circadian rhythms are orchestrated by photons, fine-tuned by the intensity and wavelength of sunlight. In this way, light is a subtle conductor, shaping not only the environment but our internal clocks, our sleep, our moods, and even our thoughts. The sun's radiance reaches beyond vision. It imprints itself on biology, a timeless rhythm that echoes through generations. The qualities of sunlight are also remarkable in their consistency and variability. The intensity may vary slightly over solar cycles, clouds may obscure or scatter it, and the atmosphere may shift its colors. Yet the underlying energy and the fundamental properties of light remain constant. This duality, constancy within flux, is part of what makes sunlight a timeless force. It is a constant companion, yet never exactly the same from moment to moment. In its subtle variations, we perceive change, progression, and life itself. Even as we speak of light in the physical sense, there is a metaphorical dimension that touches the human spirit. Sunlight represents clarity, warmth, growth, and hope. Poets, philosophers, and artists have long revered its radiance, using it as a symbol of knowledge, enlightenment, and continuity. In witnessing the sun, we witness more than energy. We witness persistence, endurance, and connection. The sunlight that reaches Earth has traveled vast distances and survived countless interactions, and yet it arrives to nurture life, to inspire thought, and to illuminate the world. The sun's radiance also reveals the passage of time in ways we often overlook. Look at a tree in sunlight and notice how shadows lengthen or shorten with the hours. Watch a mountain as it is slowly bathed in morning light or softened by evening glow. Each shift is a subtle narrative, a visible record of rotation and orbit, a story of Earth moving through space while the sun's rays persist in illuminating its surface. Time becomes tangible through light, measured not in numbers but in gradients, hues, and angles. Even in the smallest details, sunlight carries history. Dust motes floating in a sunbeam tell the story of the air around you. Suspended particles catching light in ways that reveal density, motion, and structure. Water droplets refract sunlight into tiny rainbows, reminding us that light interacts with the environment to reveal hidden complexity. Each beam is both a vehicle and a lens, carrying energy while also allowing observation, a timeless messenger and storyteller in one. Far above Earth, light from the sun interacts with magnetic fields, ionized gases, and cosmic particles. Solar flares erupt, coronal mass ejections surge outward, and the solar wind streams across the solar system. These phenomena are part of sunlight's extended story, one that reaches beyond Earth to touch planets, moons, and spacecraft. It reminds us that radiance is not merely illumination. It is energy in motion, a force capable of shaping worlds, influencing climates, and sculpting magnetic fields. In its vastness, the sun's light carries a narrative that extends far beyond our immediate perception. In essence, the sun's radiance is a bridge across scales. From subatomic photons to planetary atmospheres, from seconds to millennia, from microscopic life to vast ecosystems, light connects all layers of existence. Its journey is a constant reminder of continuity and change, of endurance and transformation. In each moment of sunlight, the past and present merge, and the future is quietly touched. In its beams, you can witness the same energy that first illuminated our planet billions of years ago. Still alive, still active, still telling its story. When you close your eyes and remember the warmth of sunlight on your face, think of the journey it has taken. The millions of years, the countless interactions, the ceaseless motion of photons across time and space. Think of the lives it has touched, the ecosystems it has nurtured, the ideas it has inspired. Sunlight is more than a physical phenomenon. It is a testament to persistence, endurance, and the unfolding narrative of the cosmos. Every photon is a word, every beam a sentence, every sunrise a chapter in a story that began long before your birth and will continue long after. Timeless radiance is not only the sun's gift but also a reflection of the universe's continuity. The light that reaches Earth is a connection to processes, events, and energies that exist across vast stretches of space and time. It is both immediate and eternal, simple in appearance yet profound in essence. In sunlight, you can touch the cosmos, feel the pulse of creation, and witness the persistence of life and energy. Each moment of radiance is an invitation to be present, to be aware, and to marvel at the ongoing story of the universe itself. So when morning breaks, when rays spill across the horizon, when the warmth touches your skin, remember, you are bathed in a story older than time, a narrative that stretches across billions of kilometers, a journey of energy, light, and life that is simultaneously ancient and eternal. The sun's radiance is timeless because it is ongoing, because it bridges past, present, and future in a single luminous embrace. And in its light, you are both observer and participant, reading a chapter that is forever unfolding, radiant and eternal. From the shadowed depths of a dark cloud to the radiant glow of the sun, our journey has traced the path of light across time and space. We have drifted with photons, felt the warmth of stellar fires, and glimpsed the quiet persistence of the cosmos. Every twist of shadow, every scattering of light, has been a gentle reminder of the scale, beauty, and interconnectedness of the universe. As you lie here, letting the vastness of space wash over you, notice how small and yet how deeply connected you are to stars, planets, and the subtle currents of light that weave through the universe. The wonder of these cosmic rhythms is not just in observation, but in the calm presence they invite. A reminder that even the most distant light can touch you, even the longest journeys can end in warmth and clarity. If this journey through space and time brought you peace, leave a like, comment where you're drifting through the night, and subscribe to The Thoughtful Night for more cosmic stories. Now, let the night sky fade gently into your dreams. The soft music carries you, a lullaby of starlight and shadow, guiding you into sleep, where the universe continues its quiet dance, and your mind floats, luminous, serene, and at rest.